I was recently talking with Falcon about who the best Dragon Lord in the game is, and we both came to the conclusion that the Red Duke should certainly be in that conversation, even though you don't see him super often anymore, which is actually pretty strange to me. Number one, he is of course a vampire lord, which means he has access to a zombie dragon and lore of vampires. Zombie Dragon's not the best. I mean, it's pretty decent. This Cloud of Flies is nice. And lore of Vampires, though, is the best lore magic in the game, right? He's also got the Hunger, so a little bit of self-healing in melee, plus ability for Invocation of the Heck, zombie summons, everything else. Also immune to Psychology because of his Frenzy. But anyway, El Sif, his character assassination debuff, one of the best character assassination debuffs in the entire game, is one of the reasons why I would say not only is he one of the best Dragon Lords in the game, one of the best Vampire Lords in the game, just one of the best Lords in the game overall, is because of this. Character sniping tends to be very strong in Total War Warhammer 2, will be in 3, always has been. So the ability to significantly debuff expensive enemy characters is super strong. Here I'm up against Coop's Tomb Kings once again. He's got Cetra the Imperishable on a chariot, so that is a super expensive strong single entity that I can debuff with LC. I've got zombies in the front line, White King, some Skeleton Spears. Graveguard are an advantage I have. They're just straight up better than Tomb Guard. So I've got them. We've got a Necromancer on a Corpse Cart, another Unholy Lodestone. This Necromancer actually not on an Unholy Lodestone. Black Knights, again, they're kind of just like Nehekara Horsemen, but just straight up better for 100 more cost. So I've also taken them. We've got Nehekara Warriors here, Sphinx of Usek, some Skeleton Warriors, Tomb Guards, with some Chevrons, which is interesting. You know, these are patron practice session games, are a little bit for experimentation, but I'm going to throw a Breath Attack in there. Just kind of hits a bunch of random stuff. Nothing really super important, but dragons, unfortunately, are not really in the best place overall as a monster. They're super slow ground speed. The fact that they have giant hitboxes make them very vulnerable anytime they try and land, especially with the big monster kill box like this with the Sphinx of Usek. Hugely threatening to me, so I'm going to have to pick and choose my landing engagements extremely carefully. All the meanwhile, I'm going to be just kind of thinning out everywhere I can, and anytime one of these characters gets isolated, they get dropped. Elsif, minus 40 melee defense, 20% physical resistance, and 45% speed. You know, in case he does cast an incantation of protection, which gives physical resistance, obviously, that will counteract part of that, but more importantly, minus 40 melee defense puts that Necrotech close to 0, and in just a few attacks, I can come in and mostly deal with him. Again, though, I have to be very careful, make sure I've got cavalry in a position to come in and screen these big monsters so that the Red Duke can get back up into the air, throw down a zombie summon for good measure, just for a little bit of extra trickle healing from that lore attribute, and to give some extra bodies so that the cavalry don't take quite so much damage from that screening engagement. But this is pretty much going to be just the rinse and repeat of the battle. The tactically interesting part comes from me maneuvering the cavalry around, right, and getting some nice side and rear charges in here. A beautiful heal blob forms, so I'm going to throw that Invocation of the Heck in there. Unfortunately, it did take some miscast damage on the Red Duke, which is not ideal. I want to try and mitigate as much damage as possible, you know, that I've taken on him. But the benefit, of course, of vampires is I don't even necessarily have to be in melee to get the hunger regenerating. I can just fly over this Unholy Lodestone, and it will give me a tiny bit of, what, 2 hit points per second, which isn't a ton, but just sitting there passively, I mean, it's better than nothing, right? Certainly. This kill box, though, is very scary. The 2 Necrotechs plus Cetra, plus the Sphinx, all pretty strong single entities. The Necrotech's definitely the weakest, though, so again, I'm going to try and catch them anytime I can isolated. Put an L-Seep on them, do a couple of attacks, and pop back up into the air, but I can't just sit up in the air the entire time. They will eventually kill my entire army on the ground without the support of the Red Duke, so I'm going to go ahead and fly over here. Again, very patiently, just waiting for the right situation to develop with these chariots. Probably another Breath Attack into this blob will do. That chevroned up Tomb Guard looking real juicy there, so I can generate some great value. A little bit overkill with the immediate Scab Scrap after, but I just wanted to try and force Crumbling. We're also going to charge in with some of those Black Knights. Again, they're fighting on the Unholy Lodestone, so they get a little bit of extra healing. Plus, the Vigor Mortis with the extra 5 attack and defense. The rest of this army's crumbling, though. I mean, I'm facing disintegration pretty much from everything here except the Grave Guards. These Dire Packs have also been in here, just kind of shadowing the Necrotechs. And again, cycle charging as much as possible. But as soon as that Sphinx steps away, it's a lot less risky for me to come in and attack these characters on chariots. So again, we throw the L-Seep on the Necrotech, just try and absolutely goon him. We do actually force him into crumbling. The Ushabti summon gets pulled up though, and the Sphinx is back for vengeance, so I need to get the heck out of here. Red Duke takes a significant amount of damage. He is getting healed by Invocation of the Heck, but this is perhaps the point of greatest danger for me. The Sphinx is going to do me a super solid though, and just go ahead and push the Red Duke right out of the Ushabti's grasp. So he can get back up into the air now after being screened through the cavalry. So thanks, Sphinx. You actually probably saved my build from collapse there, but still very dangerous. We did manage to get rid of the one Necrotech. He just barely crumbles there. The other Necrotech also looking to be in somewhat of a dangerous position here with this sort of back-faced over here. I also can, at this point, probably just wait on the Ushabti summon. Like, yes, I'm going to slowly lose this engagement, but I will be very slow, especially with the Unholy Lodestone. Again, providing that little bit of extra trickle healing in here. I can also just help maybe come over here with these Graveguard, maybe help finish off some of these other units, perhaps. It's tough to say. There's a lot of options for me at this point with the Red Duke of what I can do. But healing is also one of them. Just drop a little heal here on the Sternsmen, on some of these Skeleton Spears. The Sternsmen in particular, if I can keep them sustained, I mean, they are facing the end here. They're definitely taking a lot of damage from crumbling and in melee, but if we can stabilize their leadership, perhaps that would be of benefit. Another Scab Scrat there on those Nekar Warriors, and a Breath Attack hits Cetra. Does just enough damage to pop the curse, but very thankfully, lucky, I have to say, I did not plan this out, but the Red Duke was just barely out of the area of effect of that curse. It's essentially like a free overcast final transmutation in an, maybe not overcast, but a final transmutation in an area of effect around a Tomb King's Lord when they go down below 50% HP. Thankfully, I was able to not get hit by that on the Red Duke. That would have been bad. One Elsif on Cetra, and with not enough support new units nearby, we're able to tear him down very quickly. Again, just a few attacks. The Necromancer with his 300 weapon strength was also contributing to that single entity fight. Keep that in mind. But now, I mean, 3v1 on single entities with the White King, with the Necromancer, and with the Red Duke, since the Necrotech is mostly a non-factor at this point. He's crumbling, and one charge from the Red Duke should finish him off. He's going to pop a self-heal. The Dragon Lord, the Blood Dragon Lord. And the Red Duke, I have to say, I'm not really the fan of vampires that much, as you guys may know. Aesthetically, from a lore perspective, the Red Duke, though, I mean, the Blood Knights in general are one of the aspects of the faction I like the most, and the Red Duke, being sort of the premier Blood Knight character in the game, also has some of the coolest vampire armor in the game, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who's your favorite vampire lord? I'm going to go with the Red Duke here, and also criminally underutilized considering how strong he is. But just biding his time now, letting his troops work down the Sphinx of Usek for a while. No need to get overly aggressive and lose this game by throwing away the Red Duke, but we're going to fast forward through the rest as he eventually does come in and start to cycle charge. Again, even the wounded, sort of flailing Sphinx of Usek is still dangerous, so I have to be careful, but we do manage to take home the win. GG, well played to Coops, it was a fun one. This build, maybe not this build exactly, but, you know, the Sphinx of Usek plus strong single entity presence is definitely the way for Tomb Kings in this matchup. I would think optioning out these Tomb Guard for Tomb Guard with Halberds actually would have benefited him pretty greatly, and maybe just cutting the chevrons in general and taking a couple of extra units. If you could fit like 2 Tomb Guards with Halberds in this build, maybe up to 3, that would be very beneficial. Give you that little bit of extra anti-large AP for that late game fight, so that when I come land with the Red Duke, you know, he's taking a little bit more incidental damage than he would from just irregular skeletons and whatnot. But Cetra, 3,200 damage value, 22,000 damage dealt, just cutting through the wheat of the the vampire chaff here. Anyway, the Skeleton's doing okay. 500 value on Skeleton Spearman, 620 here, 481. I actually think for the Spearman, the chevrons do make a decent bit of sense in order to give them a little bit more defense and attack, to make more consistent contact, and also hang in the fight a little bit longer, maybe not crumble quite so easily. The regular Skeleton Warriors, not so much. I mean, they're never really going to do anything for you anyway, but yeah, the Skeleton Spears, I would think, maybe. Necron Warriors also just about pay for themselves, maybe not quite, but anyway, 3,000 damage value on the Sphinx of Uztek, also very impressive. Wasn't quite able to finish off the Red Duke, but also treacherously pushed him out of that blob fight, so maybe not the best. But wow, the Red Duke, 4,219 damage dealt, absolutely insane. Definitely hard carried my build. The White King also 1,100 damage value dealt on him. Somehow the Necromancer rear attacking gets 400 damage value. The rest of my build kind of just gets absolutely worked. I mean, a few of the Grave Guards do okay. One of the Black Knights does all right. Dire Pack almost pay for themselves, but I mean, the Red Duke really carried the majority of the value from my army, it must be said. So definitely a fun one. Just a quick reminder for you guys that the Red Duke exists and is insanely strong. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time.